What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. We're back out here today on the Twinnebago Differential, and I want to share this with you. So I skipped yesterday. I didn't make a video. I wrapped up a little bit early and went over and collected the parts, and we had to do some machining. So let me show you what we had on the last video. It was all excitement. I thought I was going to ride off into the sunset, slap some spider gears in there, Bob's your uncle, and we're going to be off riding to the Champion Cooling System show in style. Well, the more after I cleaned things up, let me show you the damage that we found, and then I actually decided against doing that. So here are the pieces, and this is the two-piece, right? This is the differential housing. The spider gears go on the cross section in here, and that's what exploded, and it basically caused a bunch of damage. So after I cleaned these up and inspected them, you know, I started seeing stuff over here, and it looks like it kind of missed it, and I was like, okay. And then you see a little more damage, and you wheel it around, and like, that's not terrible. I'm like, we can kind of clean that up. And then this one gouges pretty good, and then it gouges right at the end, right? So there's a thrust washer that sits there, and your spider gears make an X pattern. They sit here, and it kind of floats in there, you know, and it'd be getting into that. And I don't know how much force goes back and forth there, but that's not really good to kind of get into that little sheet metal gear, because once it chews that up, then the tolerances go away, and then, you know, we're just going to break gears and kind of do what we did again, right? So I wasn't feeling too gravy about that. And then this one, I went to work on this, and then I went to pick it up, and I'll show you. Anybody that knows anything about these knows that that's no bueno. Whoop, whoop. So this thing spun on the snout, so that was screwed, right? And then on the inside of this, we did it, boys. I mean, we broke it. We broke this thing, right? A lot of weight, a lot of kinetic energy. So again, on this, where that washer backs it up, I was kind of like, iffy. You know, maybe we're good. Life's not terrible yet. And then we got to doom and gloom right here. Like, this thing is half a nail in, so there's no backing for that washer, right? And it's split between the two halves. So after I saw that, and then the bearing just basically fell off, despair set in, depression, personal anguish. No, I'm just kidding. But I was like, oh, that's not good, right? So we have the other housing, which you may or may not have noticed that it is awesome. It has new bearings. It is looking spicy. I assembled this already. I did it off camera. So this thing, what we ended up doing was, I was like, man, I want to see if the ring gear fit. So the ring gear fit, and then I started looking at it, but it had a different bearing on it. So this is the bearing that this housing had. So we got to measuring. I had a buddy of mine helping me, and we realized, let me turn this one over, it's not so bad, that this shoulder here, right? This shoulder on this one was more shallow. So it had the bearing set further out. And with this thicker bearing, the shoulder needed to be cut down to accommodate the bearing, so this would fit back in the housing. So long story short, it took a few different buddies. Luckily, I have super talented friends, and I had the old one to match it up. So we took a bunch of measurements. He's a very smart gentleman. So we started on this one, and we did all the measurements, got everything done. And then it was funny because from side to side, these snouts ended up being the same size, which would make sense, right? But when you're doing it, depending where you're measuring, it was kind of a process. But we got it done. I think it was, I want to say it was like 109 thousandths per side on the snout. So we took off the shoulder. That way the bearing would seat at the proper location. So said deal would fit in the housing, and then it hopefully doesn't change the gear setup. So the despair continued kind of today. That was yesterday. I realized, I was thinking about it. I was having a hard time sleeping because I was debating on how I could possibly get this whole thing done and make it to the show on time and still make some sort of a living wage, because I've been getting my ass handed to me by life, and it just, something's got to give. We're back at the point where I'm like, man, could I do it? Yeah. I mean, I could just take the time and just say, screw it, I'm just going to commando this thing. But then I'm going to find myself in the same situation that everybody finds themselves in. The postman will show up and the bills are due, and it's like, well, I mean, I got to make it to the show, but sorry about the light bill, honey. So I was like, you know, I just have to throw the towel in on that. So what we're gonna do is try to put this in today, see if it fits. Now I have to check a pattern for sure because we did machine work. Who knows how close we are? I mean, we're probably in the ballpark, I'll be honest with you, but I don't know if ballpark's gonna be good enough, so I have to run the pattern instead of just wing it like I normally do. And mainly because this thing is big, I put my family in it. When you get far away, if the rear end goes out on that, it's a big deal. You know, this is a big girl. It's a lot of money to tow the thing. I do have tow insurance, but yeah. So I'd rather just get it done right. So if we can clean the housing out with all the crap, because I got to get in there and thoroughly clean it so we don't get chunks or stuff and actually do more damage from old residual crap floating around in there, I can magically get this to fit back inside the case. I don't have a case spread or anything, so I got like a dead blow and some wood and I don't know, some elbow grease. And then we can run a pattern. If I get lucky and the hot rod gods are kind to me and we see the football instead of the hot dog patterned on there, I think we'd be okay. But then I still have the burnout tires to change. This thing hasn't moved in since we broke it how many months ago, and it's Thursday evening, sun's gonna go down. So by the time we screw off of this, I'll be lucky if this goes in there. We'll be lucky if it makes a pattern. But then I still have to seal the rear end up. We'd have to fill it up with fluid. I still have to clean the rig and change tires out. And I got a full day of work tomorrow, and I'd have to be there super early Saturday. And I'm done with all the pressure and putting the pressure on myself at this point, because that was like the last thing I was really trying to make to that show. But I was like, I realized everybody over at Champion is super awesome. I know they see me trying my face off over here, so I don't feel like I let anybody down. I don't feel like, you know, I didn't just throw my hands up and go, oh, whatever. We got parts in a little bit late. They ended up being the wrong parts. We've got a machine. I mean, we're here doing it, but just the mountain was just this, you know, we didn't quite make it to the summit of the thing. So I'm just going to continue forward, take a little pressure off myself. We will have this thing running shortly, hopefully. And then I figure if I can get it done by the weekend, we can be riding, test it, you know, gingerly, make sure it all works and runs. That's another win in the W in the win column. And then we can get back on the boom. I can just full attention on that, get back to life, get my savings back in order, because we have a lot of hot rod parts to buy. I'll be honest with you guys. I got a lot of stuff for the boom over here. Needs some help and some love. We need some rims, right? So we're neglecting buying rims. That's what we're doing. So let me get through this. Let's try to stuff it in. I'll bring you guys back. If I can get it in place, if we're struggling, I'll let you know. If we can run a pattern, I'll show you guys what it looks like. I think I got some pattern goo around here somewhere. I'm hoping at least get that far by this evening. Hell, I'm hoping the thing goes in the housing. Let's just be honest. I'll just throw it out there. We got low expectations today. Usually I'm like, woo, and I'm ready to climb the mountain. Today I'm like, wait for my coffee to finish. I'm gonna sip on that. Hopefully get energized enough to go under there and sweet talk this thing into fitting back in the housing. So that's where we're at today. I hope you guys are doing good. We'll get this done. I'll let you know. I'll bring you back. Well, let me show you where we're gonna end up for today. So crawl over here like a commando. So I was able to get this thing in, right? And that was exciting. And then I wiggled it. I'm like, the lash felt pretty good, but I'm like, I'll just put a dial indicator on it. I looked it up and they said 6 to 10. And we are currently at 17 on the dial indicator. So 0, bam. So no bueno. So I kind of had a feeling, like I said, I didn't think luck would be on my side, especially because gears are so like touchy. I mean, it's just you do a little bit and a little bit's a lot. So it fit in there. So the cutting it down side to side was cool. It was hard to get in. I didn't think I was gonna have it, you know, get it in there so it fits properly. But now the ring gear is too far from the pinion. I don't know if this is a crush sleeve application, so I might be able to drop the drive line and then just, I don't have a lot of leverage under here. Maybe I can give it like a little, like an ugga-dugga, and then come back and check, and then maybe like ugga-dugga, see if the thing moves at all. But we're trying to get 6 to 10 on it, and I need to bring the pinion in a bit more. And then they have a special preload on it. I have the wrench for all that stuff. So yeah, apologies to Champion Cooling Systems. We're not gonna be able to make it. I now have a gear setup, obviously, stuck underneath here. So I don't know if this thing needs to come back out. We need to start shimming things. Like I said, I'm gonna hope I can do that. There's some room. I believe it might be a crush washer deal. I'll have to look into it, make sure it's not a solid spacer or shims on the front of the pinion. But if I could just tighten it up a smidge, that would solve the issue. But if I can't, then we are looking at a full on like gear setup, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to get shims and figure life out and struggle underneath here for a while, get on the struggle bus again. But I'm gonna clean up, put the cover on it. I'm gonna call it a win. At least we got the gears in there for now, and then we'll go from there. I'll bring you guys back. But yeah, it's one of those things, man. We tried and we're trying, but I just need to kind of walk away for a minute, take a break, because I'm getting frustrated with this thing. So you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. I'm gonna clean up. Till next time, I'm out.